Welcome back. One way a lot of people coped with the pandemic is buying things that they may not really need.
Exactly. And if you've been overspending, here's some tips from the host of The Money Confidential at Real Simple podcast on how to keep your spending in check.
How do I stop overspending? This is a question we got from a listener on the Money Confidential podcast from Real Simple. Her income wasn't affected by the pandemic, but because she wasn't able to spend her money in the ways she usually likes to on things like travel and dining out, she finds herself overspending on a lot of things that she doesn't need, and it's gotten in the way of her savings goals. So we talked to some experts about ways she can stop that cycle of overspending. One, make it harder to spend money. So don't keep that credit card number saved in your checkout preferences so that it's so easy to spend that it only takes one click. If you have to go find your wallet or your purse and dig out your credit card and type in the numbers, it just gives you more time between that urge to splurge and actually making the purchase. And that can be the time you need to reflect on whether that purchase is something that's really serving you. Another thing you can do is use cash when you leave the house. Cash is restrictive. You can't spend more money than you have on hand like you can with a credit card, for example. So if you're trying to stay on a budget or there are certain circumstances where you know you tend to splurge, that might be an opportunity to try using cash only. Another thing you can do is keep a spending journal. So not only tracking where your money goes and how much you're spending, but what's happening in those moments when you tend to overspend or you have that urge to splurge. Is it a certain circumstance or situation? Is it a certain feeling when you're happy, when you're angry, when you're tired, when you're hungry? Just knowing when you get those feelings to overspend can help you identify ways that you can create better systems for managing those moments. For example, if you know that you tend to overspend when you're excited and celebrating something, well, maybe that's an opportunity to use a cash-only budget when you're out for the party and you don't go overspending by bringing the credit card when you know that that is going to help you satisfy your urge to overspend. Another thing you can do is automate your savings. So rather than just keeping all of your money into a checking account and then hoping that you can sometimes save whatever's left over, set up an automatic transfer to go from your checking account to your savings account that day of or the day after you know your paycheck gets deposited. So that saving is happening for you. When you don't see the money sitting in your checking account, you're less likely to think of it as money you have available to spend. And finally, create visual reminders of your goals. When we think about trying to get on a spending plan or on a budget, we tend to think of things that are restrictive, what I can't spend money on, and that is no fun. So what we need are visual reminders of our goals, the things we're working toward, the things we want our money to do for us. And so one thing we can do is create visual reminders of those things. So a background on your phone of the house you want to buy and the down payment you're saving up for is a great example. Or printing out a picture of the vacation destination that you want to go visit after a lockdown and wrapping it around your cash and credit card so that every time you go to spend money, you're reminded of whether this purchase is going to help you get closer to that vacation or push you further from it. These are just a few of the strategies that we shared on the podcast Money Confidential. To find out more, search Money Confidential wherever you get your podcasts. I'm the host, Stephanie O'Connell Rodriguez, and I hope to find you there.
The Money Confidential podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Real Simple and the Money Confidential podcast are both produced by the parent company of Fox 10, the Meredith Corporation. Joe?